Today I want to share with you guys this one little exercise that I call spiritual credit checking. In 2 Chronicles chapter 35, Josiah, what he does, he caps off all of his reforms, revival, and changes by reinstating this thing called Passover. And many of you guys may have an idea of what Passover is, but just as a little recap, Passover was a celebration for what God had done for the Israelites while they were in enslavement to the Egyptians. God set them free, and Passover was just a celebration of remembrance for what God had done. And so the Passover celebration, it was, simply put, a celebration of what God had done. And this is significant because when Josiah, he reinstates this Passover, he's basically saying all credit and all glory goes to God in this moment. When naturally, as a king, he could have taken credit for himself, named a holiday after him in his own name. Rather than doing all that, what he does is he gives glory to God, and he makes this a celebration and stamps this moment right now in history as a moment where this all credit goes to God and God alone. And so there's three purposes for giving credit to God. I know for us, sometimes it's just we do it as easily as the saying all glory to God, but there's three reasons behind that. One, it keeps us humble. When you give credit to God for what he has done, it reminds us over and over again of just who he is, what he's done, and that actually he's the one who's done all this for us. Second, it keeps us in position. And what I mean by that is that it positions and postures you to be able to receive more. There's just something that happens when you are in a position of humility and a position where you give all credit to God, where that in some way just invites more of God's blessings, God's presence, just who he is. And so it just postures you and positions you to be able to receive more. And lastly, it keeps you free. I said in one of my previous videos that the Ten Commandments, the purpose of it was for the Israelite people to maintain their freedom. God wasn't trying to re-enslave the Israelite people after they were set free from Egypt. No, what he was trying to do, what he was trying to keep them free. So whenever we give credit to God for what he has done, what we are basically doing is we are maintaining our freedom from the powers of this world, and rather than being enslaved to anything else, what we're doing is we're giving God the glory and giving God all credit for where credit is due. So here's the exercise: spiritual credit checking. I want you to look back at a time when God did something really great in your life. I want you to remember that moment, remember the details. If you can, remember the exact day of that moment when God had done something great in your life. After that, take that event, mark it in your calendar, back to the year that it actually happened, and set that on repeat every single year for the rest of your life. I don't know about you guys, but I've been told and counseled to be able to. I've been told to journal things and to write down the things that God had done. But for me, I don't know what you guys do with journals, but mine either get lost or get thrown away. However, my calendar is never lost. I never throw away my calendar. And so rather than writing it down in some random notebook and losing it somewhere later down in my life, I just, in my Google Calendar, set a date for what God had done, and I just set that on repeat. And so every single year when that date rolls around, I get a reminder, just a quick little reminder of what God had done on that day many years before. And so just as a couple other helpful tips on how to do this, one, it may be helpful for you to create a whole new calendar for this and just call it credit checking and giving God glory for, and writing down anytime God does something spectacular in your life, just writing it down in your calendar on the date of, and using that as a reminder. Or second, label it consistently. So on my calendar, there's always a little label that says the day, and every sentence starts like that. The day God did so and so. It's just a helpful reminder for me to give God credit where credit is due. It helps me stay in check. It helps me stay humble. It puts me in position. It helps me maintain my freedom. And I want to just share that with you guys so that you can start your journey in spiritual credit checking as well. We have so many different ways and avenues for us to credit check our own finances, to check our souls, but we never have an efficient practice to check in on what God is doing and what God has done. I hope this video was helpful for you today. If you can like and subscribe, it just helps for you guys to stay up to date with what we're posting in our church. God bless.